Goes on, and from the White House to his boyhood home of St. Louis and points in between, Harry Caray's being remembered tonight. Hillary Rodham Clinton and Stan Musial are among those offering condolences tonight. So are many Major League Baseball players, including former Cub Greg Maddux.
Seems like once or twice a winter you always put in one of your old tapes, and you know, you hear Harry. Harry's the first one you hear, and you know, Wrigley Field's not going to be the same without Harry singing during the 7th inning. That was always something I even looked forward to as a player, and I heard it every day, and I still look forward to hearing it. And you know, but he's going to a better place, and he'll be okay.
You know, in his last broadcast at Wrigley Field, the Cubs' last home game of the '97 season, Harry sounded almost as if he knew he might be saying goodbye for the final time. This was Harry's sign-off after the Cubs had beaten Philadelphia.
Well, Harry Caray, speaking from Wrigley Field, God willing, hope to see you next year. Next year maybe will be the next year we all have been waiting for forever. So long, everybody.
Well, joining us tonight, Arnie Harris, who was directing that final moment. Arnie, it's been a tough day for all of us, and certainly a tough day for you.
You know, Dan, I talked to the Palm Springs house. I talked to Harry's daughters about maybe 15 or 20 times the last couple of days, and I knew down deep in my heart things were bad. And when I talked to his son-in-law tonight at about 6:10, you know, it's hard to believe. I thought he was indestructible. I can't believe he's gone.
You know, I want to ask you, everybody thinks or seems as though he's been here forever, you know, for 50 years, when certainly that's not the case. He just got here in 1982. And what a culture shock it was for you going from Jack Brickhouse to Harry Caray up in the booth.
Well, you know, I knew Harry with the White Sox, and what he used to do at Wrigley Field is come out there when the Sox were playing a night game and sit in his shorts with no shirt on and want me to shoot him. And some of the guys in my crew would go to Sox Park that night and work, and if I didn't shoot Harry during the day, he was mad. And I was there at the press conference the day they announced that Harry was going to be a Cub broadcaster, and he said some great things about me, and I really felt great. And as soon as the press conference was over, he went, and I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Come on, I want to talk to you." I said, "What do you need?" He said, "Let me ask you something serious." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Do you think that song that I sing at Sox Park will go at Wrigley?" I have to tell you, Dan, I was a brain. I just said to him, "Let's see what happens, Harry," and boy, it was great.
It was terrific, and we loved it every time he sang it, and there were so many great moments that you guys shared. For example, they finally won something in 1984. They hadn't won anything since '45, and voila, you two guys were right on the scene.
He told me, you know, okay.
Might as well join him.
He told me many times his two favorite thrills in baseball were the penitentiary in Pittsburgh with Rick Sutcliffe, who he loved, and with Mitch Williams, who he never trusted. But he said,
Nor did many of us.
No, but he said he loved those two moments.
I'm sure he did. He called a few championships down in St. Louis, too. That '64 videotape we were looking at the other day when the Cardinals won their championship. And there were some other ones, too. Guys he loved. He loved Sandberg, no question about that.
He was Ryne Sandberg's biggest fan. And Sandberg didn't know that at first, I don't think, but eventually Sandberg knew that. Mark Grace was one of his favorites. And I think maybe the guy that he loved the most recently was Sammy, because we've had such, you know, poor teams the last couple of years, that Sammy was his only real excitement, the blowing the kisses to his mother. So of all the guys that he dealt with, he liked them all, but I think Sammy, Ryne, and maybe Mark Grace were the three favorite.
Well, we just so happen to have some Sammy videotape in the machine, so spin that baby up and let's take a listen.
7 driven in, was a one-man gang against Philadelphia.
There it goes, way back. It might be. Speaking of one-man gang, boy, I think it hit the house. Hey. There it goes, way back. Might be. It could be. Hey, it is. Holy cow. Did he ever cream that one? Listen to the crowd.
Hey, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it, and again, condolences to you, and hopefully we get a seamless change over there, because you'll have a Caray in the booth.
I got to give you one line, and I'm sure it's true. If Harry would have known that his restaurant would have done 150% more business this year than last year, he would have been there tonight, I guarantee it.
You might be right about that, Arnie. Thanks so much. You know, I talked to the guy a million times myself, and it was always an interesting conversation, to say the least. But a couple of years ago, we got into a long conversation on videotape about a lot of different subjects, and I asked him how he wanted to be remembered when he was gone.
I think the way they will remember me, which is that I was a good guy and I was a hell of a baseball fan, and that's what I am. I think that's why people like me. They see. I've often said this: if you put a microphone around the throat of one of these fans, whether it be in the bleachers in a reserve seat, his voice pattern would be exactly the same as mine. He'd be ecstatic when something good happens for one of his ball players. He'd be depressed when something bad happened. He'd be critical, or he'd be approving. He couldn't hide his feeling. And if that's what makes a baseball fan, that's what I am, and that's what I'm happy about, because being a baseball fan means something to me. It gives me a reason to want to live tomorrow as well as I live today.
Well, stay with us for more on the life and career of Harry Caray. A special version of When Harry Met Baseball comes your way in just a couple of minutes. Steve?
Well, that's right. Thank you, Dan. If you loved Harry as much as we did, you are certainly going to love this special coming up next in an expanded edition of WGN News.
We also have Tom's wake-up weather forecast again.
Well, guys, for many of us, it seems like Harry Caray invented baseball. He made us feel at home, and he shared his love of the game with every one of us who took a couple of minutes to listen. In 1994, on the 50th anniversary of Harry's first baseball broadcast, WGN aired a special production, When Harry Met Baseball, hosted by NBC's Bob Costas. So take the next 30 minutes and look back, remember the good times. You're sure to laugh a little bit. You might get misty-eyed, and you'll be reminded what made Harry Caray so special to us, to Chicago, and to baseball. So now, here is Bob Costas and When Harry Met Baseball.